So there's been a few videos made about the topic I'm going to cover today, which is basically who the big three, as I like to call them, platforms are for in the eInk space. That's Boox, reMarkable, and the Supernote platforms. There's been a few videos made. Vladimir over on his channel created a really nice video discussing this particular topic. I thought that was really cool. Definitely go check his out. I'll link it down in the description below. And Ed over at Organize for Change has a really good video covering this, and I'll link that down below as well if you want more opinions on this particular topic. So this video is going to give you my opinion on who those platforms are for and why. Let's get to it. How's it going, everyone? Roderick here, Rants About Tech. If you're new here, welcome. Consider becoming part of the community by hitting the subscribe button, and show your support by hitting that like button for me. So there's a couple things I want to talk about up front so we don't have to address them later, and that would be a conversation surrounding whether or not having a front light or not is a con. My take on this is that if we're talking about a pure note taker, it's a paper replacement, and by default, paper doesn't have light. It uses the same light source as a front lightless eInk tablet. So there's no advantage in that space when you go from paper to a eInk device, because I'm not looking for something to illuminate. That's not the problem I'm trying to solve when I go from paper to eInk. The problem I'm trying to solve with paper to eInk is that I'm trying to find a paper replacement that is way better to organize than normal paper. I'm trying to find a better way to edit, which is way better than paper. There are lots of things that I'm trying to make better in my writing experience, but illumination was never one of those things. There are people who say that not having a front light on a device is a bad thing, and I just think, nah, I don't think it's a pro or a con in that particular instance, because you can get devices that have them and you can get devices that do not have them. So I don't think there's a pro and a con to be had in that particular realm. Like I said, if we're just talking about a paper replacement. Now, when it comes to something that's just meant to be an e-reader, now there's an argument to be made. Still though, I don't see it as a con. So just so we know where I stand on that. So the next thing is, there's gonna be some assumptions made when I'm having this discussion, right? The first thing is that you don't need color. Again, I'm just talking about paper replacements, note takers. So pen, paper, pencil, paper, black and white. Because you're coming from pencil and paper or pen and paper, and you're just trying to find something that allows you to organize a little better, that allows you to manage your workflow a little better. These are the things I'm talking about when I talk about a paper replacement. So those are the two assumptions I'm making when I'm having this discussion right there. And if that doesn't apply to you, I totally understand. But for me, I'm thinking of just pure note taking, a pure paper replacement. And for me, I don't need color for that, and I don't need a front light for that. All right, so one more thing I almost forgot before we move on is that there was a conversation to be had around the topic of what a note-taking e-ink device should have. And there was a debate being made for it having just strictly a note taker and a e-reader. I think that's a pretty cool way to look at a note-taking tablet. And if they had done that to the recently announced and recently released Go 10.3, I think that would have been the simplicity that everyone was looking for. And just lumping that in with this particular conversation, because we're talking about note-taking. And I think that if any one of the devices I'm mentioning today or the Go 10.3 had just a note-taking app and an e-reader, how would you guys feel about that? I'd be happy with that, for sure. Leave it down in the comments. All right. So I'm going to be talking about who the big three platforms are for: Boox, reMarkable, Supernote. And we're going to start first off with the Boox platform. In my opinion, you get a Boox device if you want a note taker with a really good reader app. I say this because their note-taking app is really good, and combined with a really good reader, you have an experience where you can read PDFs, read books, and take notes all in the same device. So why do I say the note-taking app is really good? Well, they have the most options for writing and drawing, and they have the best gestures for writing and just hand gestures on any device from the big three platforms. So the drawbacks become apparent in a saying I like to say: with great options come great responsibility. What I mean by that is that when you have so many options and so many menus like the Boox products do, you have to start thinking of ways to make things more intuitive. You have to get clever in thinking about ways to put these options and menus in front of the user at times when they're going to need them, so they don't have to drill down and dig through menus to use tools. And most of the time, people aren't even going to dig through these menus to even know that those tools are even there. So when you have so many options, you have to give thought to how people are going to use them and then design your UI accordingly. That hasn't been done very effectively on Boox products thus far. It seems like they might be getting there with the 10.3 and some of the changes they made with that UI. I haven't seen it yet, so I can't really comment. It's coming, but I haven't seen it yet. But it seems like they may be coming in that direction. But as of right now, that's the problem with the Boox platform. So just to finish off the book section here, the eReader, though it has a lot of options, though it's convoluted, though it's not very cohesive as far as its design along with the rest of the apps that come on the device, it is the best e-reader you will get on any of the big three platforms, bar none. If you need a note-taking device and you need an e-reader that can read web pages, ebooks, EPUBs, PDFs, with so many options you would never want for a configuration you don't have, your only option is a Boox product. So the next up is a Supernote platform. And for this, I would recommend the Supernote to anyone who needs the best note-taking experience and you don't need an e-reader. Not that the Supernote doesn't have an e-reader, it does have a reader app on there, it's just trash. You can't do anything. There's one thing you can do with it, you can change the contrast level, but that's it. And in a world where e-ink is not always consistently dark or good or legible even, you have to be able to change certain parameters to make it visible for you under certain conditions, or if you want to view certain content a certain way. It's just, you need options in a reader app if you want to view them how they're supposed to be viewed. And there's none of that on the Supernote. So don't go into the Supernote thinking that you're going to have a really good ebook or EPUB or PDF experience, because you're not. It's just not going to be possible on the Supernote. I will say though, as far as PDFs go, when you view them on the Supernote, they don't look as good as they do on the reMarkable, and it doesn't look as good as the Boox product either. Both the Boox and the Supernote have heavy banding that you don't see on the reMarkable when it comes to PDFs, but yeah, this is by far the worst PDF experience on the big three platform devices that I've tried. I would not look for the Supernote if you need a good e-reader or a good PDF viewer or anything like that. Excellent note-taking for lots of reasons that we're about to go into, but not for e-reading, so just my opinion. So why do I think the note-taking on the Supernote is top-notch? Well, there's a few reasons, but the first amongst that is it's focused approach that is not limiting. Focused, but not limiting. So what I mean by that is you get the note-taking app, you get a calendar app, you get a email app, you get a reader app, you get the Kindle app, and that's it. So those apps are the only things you can get on this device, and it doesn't really reach out to the internet. It doesn't have a browser where you can browse the web and read that way. So it's really just a device that comes with its native apps and expects you to kind of stay in that realm. So it has a very day planner-ish vibe, and I like that. It's focused in that way, but not limiting, because there are tools that empower you to do things you simply can't do on any of the other devices we're going to talk about today. All right, so the next thing we're going to talk about is the unique writing experience on the Supernote. The Supernote has a film on it that's soft in comparison to the others that have hard screens. This is a unique experience that you're going to find here that you won't find anywhere else. And that combined with the pens that they have, if you value your writing experience, this is probably the best one you're going to get, especially if you like pens and you want something other than just a cylindrical tube. No one's offering the variety of pens that the Supernote platform has available to it. So if that's something you like, as far as writing experience goes, you can only get that here. I mentioned organization before as one of the ways that it's a focused machine, but it's not limiting. And what I mean by that is the quick access menu allows you to jump between notes like just with a swipe. You have headers that you can create that allow you to jump between pages in a note. Then you have the starring system that allows you to be even more precise when you're trying to mark up areas in your notebook that you want to get back to. Way more options than you're going to get on any of the other platforms, and that's a fact. The last two things are going to be the selection tool that's severely underrated. Getting as many tools as you get at the slider selection when you select something with the Supernote platform is just crazy. And it's mind-boggling to me that other platforms just don't rip that off just entirely, shamelessly even. It's just that good, and it's just that essential. It's like a quality of life thing for people who have the Supernote device. That's like 5 or 6 things in that toolbar you'll never have to go to the toolbar to access. They're right there when you need them. It's just so great. I can't say enough. The organization and the ability for you to get back to your thoughts or the whatever note you were working on and to be able to skip between thoughts. My brain works that way, and this device has been a savior because I can switch between random thoughts on the fly without thinking about it at all. For that reason, this device stays at my desk side and basically stays in my bag when I'm not in the house because I can get to anything I'm thinking in a swipe. Marvelous. The last thing is how good the eInk looks. That's one of the things you get with eInk when you don't have a front light and you don't have a color layer. You can get that ink display so close to the actual writing surface that you feel like you're writing on that writing surface. So that's a huge plus in my book, especially when you're someone who writes and connects with information better when you write. So on to the reader on the Supernote platform. It's barely functional with one option to adjust the contrast, and I think that's sorely lacking in the realm of functionality. It doesn't have to be overboard with the options, but it's just some options to help you navigate PDFs in a more reasonable manner. Like just zooming is an exercise in futility on the Supernote. So yeah, it's one of those things that I won't use on a Supernote if I can avoid it. All right, so just to recap those last two sections there, we have the Boox platform, which I think is good for anyone who's looking for a note taker, and you also need a good e-reader. So that's just right out of the gate. If you need those two things, Boox is the platform for you. Next up, we had the Supernote platform, which I thought is the best writing experience, pure writing experience when you talk about what you're trying to do with your writing. Organization, being able to jump between your thoughts, a unique writing experience, the best pens. Like I said, the writing experience I can't call the best because it's just a unique writing experience. Some people like the hard, some people like the soft feel of the soft or the feel right film on the Supernote platform. It's a different experience. It's unique. It's something you won't get anywhere else for sure. And what's also not up for debate is that its UI is very intuitive. So very good note taking if you just need note taking. So lastly, we have the reMarkable platform. And I think this platform will suit anybody who needs just a note taker. You don't need a reader or a PDF viewer, but you also would like it to be very user-friendly, very accessible, and be able to pick up and use in minutes. So let's go into why I think it's a good note taker. And for that, we're gonna have to dive into the UI. It's probably the most well-designed and best-looking UI out of all the platforms. And when you have a UI that well-designed, the ease of use just kind of comes with it. It's very accessible, very easy to read. The buttons are really big. They're nice and bold, so they stand out. It's just a really good system, and all of their tools look like they were custom designed for this particular platform, where some of the other platforms may look like they're kind of generic, like they were taken from something else just to be put into their particular platform. But when you look at the reMarkable's UI, everything looks to be custom designed for how they wanted it for this particular machine. It's the most premium looking and feeling device on the market, and probably the most well-built product on the market. And because it's so accessible, it's one of those devices you can recommend to almost anyone with the confidence that they'll be able to use it without much fuss. And though my opinion for use case has changed since my review on the reMarkable 2, I still think that students and professionals can take advantage of the distraction-free environment that the reMarkable 2 offers, especially when they have people concerned about whether they're actually doing work or not. Now the reader that's really worse than the Supernote reader, better quality. Matter of fact, the reMarkable 2 reader has better visual quality when it comes to books and PDFs. Less banding for sure, and it just looks crisper and better. I don't know why that is, but PDFs and books look really good on reMarkable. But it's inconsistent as far as the books go, and the controls are terrible for PDFs on here. So I would recommend this particular device for any of those things. If you need an e-reader and a PDF viewer with your note taker, Boox is the option for you. But for this product right here, just note taking, you can view PDFs, you can have books on here. It's not going to look good. You're not going to have much control at all, but you can do it. Now, like I said before, I think the beauty of the reMarkable 2 is its simplicity. It's almost simple to a fault, but that simplicity is a draw for the same reasons I just mentioned. Anyone can grab this and use it at a moment's notice. You never have to worry about whether someone's going to be able to actually make use of this particular device if you give it to them for a gift or if you have this at the workplace. This is something someone can pick up and use within minutes. And that is in itself a big selling point of this particular device. Along with it looking so good too. UI and the hardware, it just all around looks good. Just get it. Now it's really good. Okay everyone, that's going to be it for me. I'm really interested to hear your thoughts though. What do you think? Do you agree with my assessment of how the big three play out for use cases? Did I nail it? Did I not nail it? What do you think? Who do you think these devices are for? And more importantly, why do you think they're for that particular crowd? Leave it down in the comments so we can get that conversation started, because I'm super interested to see what the community has to say. All right, everyone. As always, go ahead and hit that subscribe button, become part of the crew, and hit that like button to show your support. And until next time, take care.